obviously Nicky Henderson's a big racing yard. Can you explain what's wrong with his landline?
Oh, dang.
You might actually then convince the presenter they're wrong, or you might convince the jockey they're wrong. But for me, that would make the sport a lot more interesting for viewers. Please, Daniel, I'll come in and ride out for free. Pat?
Paddy, yeah.
Not Pat.
No.
Okay. Episode 25 of Unbridled coming up. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's a real moment, really. Last show and stuff.
Is it that kind of moment? Do you remember getting the call up?
I do, actually, yeah. Putting a horse on the horse walker, and Matt Chapman's name came up on the phone.
Yeah.
So what does he want?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like you just texting people behind the scenes that I actually don't like, pretending that I'm their mate. It's been emotional. I think for you, this is the start of big things. This show. One day you will look back at this and say, Unbridled, that was the start of a whole new world for me. But, and once we finish today, once we get going, you've just got to think about this properly. Like in the car, on the way from the studio today, you've got to think about what I'm going to say, okay? When you make a bet with someone, you need to fulfill that bet. And we've got to episode 25. And many, many, many episodes ago, you promised dinner. I don't know how the racing club's going. I don't know how the mortgage is going.
Tight.
Yeah, but that dinner has never arrived. And people will never trust you if you don't fulfill private wages.
Well, we will.
Welcome to episode 25 of Unbridled, the show they said would never last. They said to me, look, we'll try this show. We'll probably have to ditch it after one or two episodes. Our sponsors, BoyleSports, are still with us. Paddy, Brennan, who was plucked from obscurity by yours truly and is now an international superstar, is still with us. How are you, Pat?
Yeah, I'm good. Paddy, please.
Oh, sorry. Paddy, how are you?
I'm good.
Are you? Anything happening in the Patrick world at this minute that we should be excited about? Big Brother House on the back of this show?
Yeah, look, there's
Did you do Big Brother?
Would I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Would you?
If I got enough money.
But go in as a double act.
There's lots going on at the minute.
Like Jedward, we could be Unbridled.
Off to Chester next week.
Are you?
Never been.
Never been?
Never
been to Chester?
I've been to Chester town, never to the race.
Good atmosphere. The weather's good. The weather is key, and I do think that maybe this...
I think the weather's okay. It's not as warm next week.
Sure it is.
I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, got a runner on Monday, so a few good things coming up.
I've said this many times during the 25 episodes, sponsored by BoyleSports, and still with our TV unable to be matching on both sides. I've said many times that you never ever asked if you could plug your racing club throughout, although I was quite happy to. But you must be delighted with how it's gone. It's been a really good start for a racing club.
Yeah, honestly, when you retire from a jockey, you got to get out there as quickly as possible and sample things. Look, did a couple of things that probably didn't work out as well as I would have liked, but the syndicate, massive. I think we had 20 runners, 8 winners, over 90,000 in prize money. It's gone 100 times better than I ever thought it could. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future and meeting some great people. And yeah, Abby Stock's a massive help, so I'm very, very grateful to her, and Rachel Mulcair as well, so I'd like to thank them.
Willie Mullins is the British champion trainer, sillies off your mate Skelton quite easily in the end. One or two people saying, of course, that, as they always do at this stage, Trainers' Championship should be on winners. No, as we've said before, it's very simple when it comes to the Trainers' Championship and the Jockeys' Championship. A jockey's job is to win. That's it. Just win. Win every single race you can. Trainer's job is to earn as much money as you can for your owner. And that might involve finishing fourth in a race rather than winning some crappy race that's worth nothing. So that is why the Trainers' Championship has to be done on money. At the end of the day, Willie Mullins is the best trainer.
Yeah, it's unbelievable feat, really, when you think about it. Come January, he's probably less than 5 winners in the country, maybe in the odd hurl where Patrick Mullins was trying to ride his way around the country. Horses, that is. But, you know, Dan Skelton's got a lot to be proud of, I think, and his team. He'll probably be remembered more for the time that he was second to Willie Mullins and the great battle towards the end of the last season. Look, it's inevitable that Dan's going to be champion trainer. It's one of the certainties for me in life. But he'll probably be remembered more for being second to Willie Mullins than maybe any of them championships.
Yeah, he's created something, just like Nichols and Pipe created something back in the day. It's been exciting to watch the determination and the fact it means something. I think people do like in this modern age that something still means something to people. And clearly that title really does mean something. Vincent O'Brien won it twice, didn't do it 3 times. Willie Mullins has won it twice. I think I know Willie Mullins well enough that bit of history could mean a lot to him. So I suspect round 3 could be the hardest for Dan of all of them, because I think Willie will say to himself, look, if I could do what Vincent O'Brien never did. I mean, the first aim was just to match what Vincent did by winning 1. Then he's equalled it by winning 2. If he could go ahead as getting the hat-trick up, which Vincent didn't do, in the history books, that is something might never be done again.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I think Willie starts every season off the same. His horses don't really start running till December, November. You know, Dublin Racing Festival, Christmas, Leopardstown. So, like, he won't change any of that. He won't have his horses ready any earlier. So, yeah, look, of course he'll have it on his mind, but I think the horses come first, and it'll be Cheltenham Festival and Aintree that make decisions on that for him.
We'll get to riders in a moment, but I just want to have a quick chat with you about perhaps things that you've enjoyed. Horse of the season, who would be your horse of the season? I think it's quite a tough decision, because are there any real standouts? Is there one horse? Horse of the year?
Horse of the year.
Irish or British? I think there are 2 choices.
You give me yours.
Well, no, you. I don't want to advise you, but
no.
Okay, well, I think you could argue now Marie Nationale could be your horse of the year. John Bon, for consistency, could be your horse of the year. I mean, for me, it's probably between those 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the New Lion. I think he's
clearly not horse of the year, is he?
Well, for me, he is, and he's a horse for the future. He's a horse that sprang to mind. And when you see the way some of the Corbecks, you know, got beaten Punchestown, Constitution Hill, you got to... There's an opening for a champion hurling. For me, he's a horse, hell of a horse, and yeah, I'll not name him.
Do you go into Skelton's?
I do.
Is he a mate?
We work together.
And you picked his horse?
Well, it's a horse that sprang to mind.
Okay. Jockey of the season. Do you work or hang out with any of those that you might pick in a minute?
I think it has to be Sean Bowen, champion jockey. You know, he's so unassuming, Sean. He's so, for any young jockey coming up and him as a leader, I think it's a real positive. He gives people time. He's very relaxed in a race. You know, he's not always jostling for position. He's happy wherever he is. But I think that's what makes him a great jockey. I think Richard Johnson was very similar. A gentleman in and out of the weigh room. And yeah, it's a great leadership. And I think moving forward, he'll be very hard to beat for the coming seasons.
Should we annoy our team behind the scenes?
Go on.
At this moment, let's just cut up a bit of Booster Bob from Newbury and stick it in. But we don't just need the final furlong, because that doesn't tell the story. We need little clips of Booster all the way around. Our team will do that for us, I'm sure. Shared at Plumpton was also, I was there that day, extraordinary ride, which is why it sticks in the mind. It doesn't really matter whether I was there or not, but when you're there, it sticks in the mind more. And Shared was an extraordinary ride as well at Plumpton. Well, we kind of know you're just going to pick your buddy here, but trainer of the season?
Yeah, Dan Skelton.
Dan Skelton, your buddy. Ride of the season?
I think ride of the season was Harry Cobden in Scottish National.
Okay, Captain Cody.
That was just taken outside the box a little bit. His instructions wouldn't have been to where he was, jumping the second fence. Willie Mullins openly said with a circuit to go he'd rule the horse out because he was so far back, but that's what make Harry Cobden a little bit different. He's not scared to lose, and it was a beautiful ride.
And one horse that you can't wait to see next season?
Sergino.
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it? Like if he comes back. I want to play a game with you. So this game is going to be called In or Out. And I'm going to rattle through the King George betting at Christmas. I think this will be quite interesting. So you have to say whether this horse is going to be in it or out of it. Gaelic Warrior.
In.
100% in. Factophile.
In.
100% out. Il est Francais.
In.
In. I know the way you're thinking.
In.
Out. They're never going to run I know the way you're thinking around Kenton. It's far too short.
Come on. You didn't tell me that bit.
Tell you what bit?
What if there's a decision of whether they're going to run or not?
I don't think I could have made it any clearer what game we're playing here.
Yeah.
King George, are they going to run or not going to run?
Right, come on.
Okay. Champ Kylie, who was impressive this week at Punchestown.
In.
Gosh, it's going to be the biggest field of all time. Caldwell Potter.
In.
He's in, isn't he? He's got to be in. The Jukebox Man.
Be tight on time, that. Out.
In. Jukebox Man.
Out.
Il est temps. Il était temps.
Out.
Out. Absolutely 100% out. Fast or... Grange Clare West.
Out.
Out. Fast or slow?
Out.
Out. John Bon.
Out.
In. 100% in. Lecky Watson fell this week.
If he wins the King George, I'll buy you a new set of clothes.
Yeah, well, we've had your bets before. You don't fulfil them, so I'm not even going to bother. Lecky Watson.
Yeah. Out.
Out. Ballyburn.
Out.
He's going hurdling. Grey Dawning, your mate.
Out.
Out. Majborough.
Out.
Out. Django Bay.
In.
He could be in. He could be in with John Bon. Or Nico Decision. Oh, be good to have a chat with him. I'll try and get him on later, maybe. Gidley Park.
Out.
Doesn't matter, really, to be honest. He's a nice horse, but he's not going to win that. And then I think we're into the worlds of fantasy. Okay, so
it's not that big a field, is it, Matt?
Well, it was about 15.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was. Okay. The King George is going to be an absolute belter, according to Unbridled. So, Pat, got a special guest lined up for you.
Right.
I think you'll be really pleased. You had, 6 Cheltenham Festival winners, didn't you?
6, yeah. Sure, yeah.
Right, did you win the Gold Cup?
Yeah.
Okay, how many times?
Once.
Okay, he matches that.
Right.
Did you win the Queen Mother Champion Chase?
No.
No, he did it. He's done it 3 times. He could win more. Champion Hurdle?
No.
No, nothing for you. He's done that.
How many times?
Once so far. Arkle?
No, just beating the Arkle.
Yeah, so you haven't won it.
No.
No, he's done that loads of times as well. Supreme?
No.
No, he's done that loads of times. So, this is a man I imagine you will have huge respect for. It's only Nicolai. It's Nico. Nicolai Chastel. Actually, I've got to, Nico, we've got to get straight onto this straight away. Nicolai W. Chastel de Boinville. First of all, welcome to the show. Great to have you on board. The W, Nico, can you clear that up for me? Because I have been amiss. I didn't know there was a W in there. What is the W?
It's just straightforward, William.
Nicolai William Chastel de Boinville on the finale of Unbridled.
He was our first guest as well, wasn't he?
He was without him, we are nothing. Honestly, we'd have been stuck with you, Pat.
Everyone said that was the worst. It only got better after that, so...
Well, that's not true. Right, let's just go straight into it, Nico, because everyone knows you had a horrible fall. We can see you still in the neck brace there. So ribs and a couple of fractures in. Is it your neck, back? What have you actually really got going on?
So The fractures aren't too bad. It's just where they are. So the one in my neck is very close to the artery which runs up through your spine. And basically I can't move that or get that sort of made any worse, because if you start affecting that artery, you could end up having a stroke or something like that. So that's that.
So that's a problem. I mean, for healing that kind of thing, what kind of time are you looking at?
I've been told I've got to have this thing on for 6 weeks. I'm seeing the specialist next week. But honestly, I was so well looked after. And as Paddy knows, down sort of that way, Plumpton, Fontwell, you're looked after by an incredibly sort of specialist team. And Dr. Riz, he's one of the main consultants at East Sussex Hospital. So he sort of got me in the back brace and whizzed me down to the hospital and got me through everything. And was looked after incredibly well. And Sammy Twiston Davis, massive credit to him. He stayed with me throughout the sort of night and brought me back the next day. So
there was no call from Paddy?
I think I had him. Look, honestly, I was fairly out of it as well. So
you might have missed a call.
I had a lot of messages, but I can't.
Did you call Paddy? Or
yeah,
not?
No, I did. I did get a message from Paddy. Actually, yeah. I did. Yeah.
Did you?
Yes.
Hold on. So, because you said on another show that behind the scenes you were secretly texting Nico, and it's all been a bit of an act, that actually there's a kind of love affair going on here.
It's love-hate.
Right. But you've been a bit like that on this show, haven't you? You say one thing, dinner, for a classic example, but you do another. Is that you in life in general? Are you not really... I
think, Matt, what it is, people don't understand, is that when you've been served a bit of time in that weighing room, no matter how your relationships have gone, there's something that bonds you there for a long time. And yeah, no matter what's said, we all know, we move past it and we move on, and we all get on, really.
Yeah, so there, shush.
I still don't trust you.
I saw your fall. Did you know you were in trouble the minute you hit the ground, or?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And, you get to our stage, and by this stage, you know your body fairly well. And I knew something had gone down my back and into my neck. So yeah. I didn't really move too much. And I knew that was me done for the season.
Did you, in that instance, Nick, this almost sounds horrible to ask, but I'll explain why in a minute. When you have an injury like that, are you in agony, or does adrenaline take over? And actually, the pain isn't terrible.
At that stage, the pain isn't too bad, because one, your sort of adrenaline is there, and you're so quickly looked after, and they start giving you pain relief straight away. And they put me on one stuff, and I wasn't quite happy with that. And then I was on the gas and air, and I love the gas and air. That's just, Paddy will tell you, it's brilliant stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I could make my phone calls, and I was on the way. I was blue lighted all the way. So, yeah, the ambulance team were great.
I don't want to ask this, but I'm going to ask it. Are you absolutely...
Ask me anything.
Okay.
Open book.
In your mind, are you absolutely sure you can come back from this? Because Mick Fitz obviously had a nasty injury that he couldn't come back from. Have the doctors told you that if this heals, you can definitely come back?
Yeah, it's not going to put me out. I mean, without this neck brace, I probably feel I could ride now, but yeah, it's fine.
Nicky Henderson says that you will not be a good patient.
Are any of us? I mean, honestly, you go from being flat out to, yeah, I'm bored already. Because obviously, presumably kids are at school at the moment, so house is relatively quiet and you can't do anything, and you're used to being an action man. I mean, do you play computer games? What do you do during the day other than watch episodes of Unbridled? Oh yeah, Unbridled's at the top of the list.
Yeah, we said that.
Watch a few films.
What's the latest film you've watched?
Oh, I've just finished a series called Shogun.
Okay. Any good?
Japanese.
Japanese?
Yeah.
Was it in Japanese or did you have some subtitles?
They have subtitles, yeah.
But could you have watched it in Japanese? I bet you could.
No, I couldn't. No, I'm not Felix Giles. He's actually going out to Japan.
Okay, so you watch a few movies, but I mean, for you, it must be just deadly.
What do you mean?
Well, just like boring, just so boring. Like,
yeah, it is boring. Yeah, it is really boring. Obviously the painkillers help. So you do a lot of sleeping. So yeah, no, I'm just trying to get through like the first week and a bit, and after that it'll start to subside, and then you can start doing stuff. But until I see the specialist, I can't do much really.
Yeah. The ribs stop you from laughing. Obviously, you'd be chuckling away at this show already because we're so amusing. But presumably, laughing is difficult.
It's fine. I'm on good stuff now. Yeah.
Have you got any good stories you can tell us, Nico? Like ones that we haven't heard so far on the series? Just anything about, like, because you are the storyteller. I mean, we've had some great stuff from you, but we haven't gone all around the weighing room. I mean, this is your, just fill us with stuff that might make me chuckle.
Have you had Johnny Burke on yet?
Well, Johnny went a bit quiet when he went to, I think it was Newbury, and I said to him, we were talking about him about to ride in a race, and I said, "Oh, Ascot, yeah," and I mentioned the fact that his other half said he had fantastic hands, but he'd actually dumped her about 2 days before. So that he's gone a bit quiet since then.
So then we couldn't work out why John Burt was riding out of his skin, and at Newbury, it was in the mayor's final. I was just coming to chin him on the line. And when it's a close finish, it's not really the done thing to sort of celebrate in people's faces, but he literally turned to me and celebrated in my face. And I was like, oh, that is not the done thing. And anyway, all the way walking back to the winner's enclosure, he was apologizing all the way. And yeah, I wouldn't have it. And he changed it next to me as well. Yeah. And Paddy knows about celebrating people's faces, don't you?
Hold on, Pad.
I'm struggling here. I can't hear him.
Okay, well, he was just saying that Nico was just saying you know about celebrating in people's faces.
What's he on about?
Nico?
You loved a celebration, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Do you know what? I look back on my career with the odd celebration. What the were you doing? But yeah, I did, yeah.
Can you see us, Nico?
Yeah, I can see you.
Can you see my sweater?
Oh, I can see that now, yeah.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah, well, there isn't a Paddy Brennan one of these.
Paddy.
Yeah.
I thought it was Paddy.
These sell like hotcakes, but
that was
Paddy Brennan one. They made one and it's still there.
Was that Kempton, that one?
No, this is Championello.
No, because if that was Kempton, I would have been celebrating to the infield.
Yeah.
Who was other than Nico, because we know there was that incident in the West Country, who was the jockey you upset, do you think, the most?
Cooper.
Yeah.
Who?
I tried.
Well, Cooper, yeah, in the Gold Cup. Yeah.
No, that was the King George.
Oh, the King George, where you kept him in on the rail.
Yeah. No, he was. Yeah. He was in Louis.
But that would probably was more luck than judgment, wasn't it?
I was surprised that Cooper came on. Actually, I have to admit,
he was really keen. It was like
they paid to come on.
It was good.
I think it was therapeutic as much as anything. What? We barely get paid.
Yeah,
we're not paying guests, are we? But was there anyone else?
I can't honestly. There've been so many. I've probably
that hate you.
Probably.
Oh come on, there must be someone. There must be one other day that you thought that jockey. If I ever see him again, I'll give him a right.
Honestly, you put me on the spot. I can't think of someone straight off.
Well, let's change it around. Did any jockey pin you up against the wall, Paddy?
Who?
When you were a kid?
Any jockey pin you up against the wall?
Any jockey pin me up against the wall?
Oh, come on.
I'm sure there was plenty. Can you remember one, Nico?
You're meant to be Roy Keane.
I wouldn't have been in the weighing room then.
No, exactly.
And
you're old.
By the time I was in, you were you were established.
Yeah. Although, actually, if you look at this picture this is Nicolai's Wikipedia page picture. And
See, Wikipedia's full of lies.
Yeah, but you'd think Nico he'd be about 100 now, wouldn't you, compared to that picture? This is beautiful. There's almost like a Harry Bentley sweep over on the Wikipedia page. It's extraordinary.
Matt,
but yes,
you're not in a position Look at your hair.
My hair still grows.
Who's been the best guest you've had on this season?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Who's been the best guest?
I've had some great guests.
I mean, Cooper, to be fair, was probably the best because he brought in the hatred, but also a kind of touching nice side as well.
Yeah, we've been, honestly...
What about David Bass?
Bassey, he was good. Davy Russell.
Russell was good.
We had some great guests.
I mean, to be fair, Nico, as you'll know, because you'll have watched every show by now.
Well, you've been on every show.
Yeah, like, it's gone really... It's been fun, I think, because I know in general, because of the David Power Cup, we have seen more of jockeys, but most of the time on social media, the jockey stuff is just inane questions, like just stupid stuff. Whereas on here, I'd like to think we've just got a little bit more under the skin with the fun stuff, but to do with racing rather than, you know, do you like sushi or do you like steak and what's your favourite cartoon from your childhood? It's like, I think that's what we've been able to do is just make the fun about racing and get the fun out of the racing rather than just silly questions.
Yeah, I think as well the jockeys have come on and they felt very relaxed. I think jockeys are always slightly afraid of coming and showing their personalities and things, and for want of being taken the wrong way. And you know, our sense of humor is fairly dark, I'd say. And yeah, no, I think it's been really good to see jockeys come on and show what they're about, really.
Well, in the past, there's always been this thing that a jockey can never say they're afraid or scared or terrified of anything. You just can't say that. And you're like, oh, I'm a jockey, I'm not scared of anything. It's like, and you almost can't show a sense of humour or playful side. Like everything has to, and particularly in the flat game, less perhaps so in the jumps game, but like you have to show that you're this steely character, rock hard. Like it's almost if you have a sense of humour and you smile. I mean, Nick Schofield would be an example that there wouldn't be anyone who's watched Nick Schofield over the years who thinks he's some sort of hard man, I don't think. Like, he's always smiley, but you know with him that he takes it deadly seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the people you're closer to in the weight room, you do get a sense of more what's going on inside. And yeah, like it's like, you know, golf's an individual sport. Being a jockey, I do often wish in my career it was more like a team. I could have played in a football team or a hurling team. But jockey life is, yeah, you are an individual and you keep your cards close to your chest, especially when you're going out to ride in a race. But yeah, it's not a case of who's the hardest man or who's the weakest man, and everyone becomes even, I think.
Nico, we're speaking to you before we get absolutely confirmed that Constitution Hill has been confirmed for Punchestown on Friday. How hopefully you can answer this truthfully. How difficult is it for you to watch that race? Will you watch that race like live?
I probably won't watch it live. Yeah, it's not easy being on the sidelines particularly when you've got a flagship horse like that. But obviously, I want the horse to do his best, and you know, for the whole team, it's been quite a tumultuous season. And so obviously you want it to end on a good note. And I'd love it for Michael Buckley as well. He's been such a sort of staunch supporter of mine. And yeah, I'd love it for the whole team, for him to go and show what he can really do.
And Nico, I think like real characters come out here, because if I was you, like, he's fallen twice. I don't think anyone feels that's your fault. Like, that's the horse has chosen to do those moments, although Paddy will probably say it's your fault. But again, if he pings every hurdle on Friday and never misses a beat, is that hard as well in some ways? Obviously you want him to ping every hurdle, but there has to be in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, he's just pinged every hurdle. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, that's one of your stupid questions, that one.
Why?
Because it is.
Well, I think that's what people will think watching the show. Let's see what he says.
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, I know what he's capable of, and yeah, it's quite tough to answer. But look, all I can hope is that the horse goes and does everyone proud, and Yeah, ends the season on a good note. It'd be really nice for him to go out to grass, or whether he does, I see he's got an entry for the Ascot Gold Cup. But yeah, no, I just want to see him do well.
And although he's fallen twice, I don't want to pile pressure on James Bowen here particularly, but when he's been standing up, has he genuinely felt the machine that you always knew?
Yeah, I mean, he honestly has. And he's fallen twice, but then you look at the favourite for the novice hurdle today in the Turley colours for Willie, and that's fallen twice.
Yeah.
You know, and no one thinks anything of it, but I understand why people make things of it, but I'm just saying that horses do fall.
Yeah.
But I think at Cheltenham, Nico, with Constitution Hill, he was a little bit long and guessy, and yeah, like it was one of them things where at entry, like he literally, what he did was he came from the wings, like he was never getting there, and he was very lucky to get up. And like I said to you here on the last show, I think at Cheltenham, it was a case of he hit the ground and he got up and he ran away and he's fine. I think you watch him school the other day, we seen on X that I think he certainly learned this time. He knows, the horse knows he can't do that again, because you know, I think he was very close to doing something serious on that fall. And yeah, I do think, and as well in Punchestown, it's going to be a different ball game. There's less runners. It'll be totally different tactically, and you know, things are going to be a lot different.
You're back to 2 miles. You're back over the original hurdles, and those hurdles at Punchestown, they are upright. You can't be making any sort of error at those. So I think it's all in his favour, really. And at Aintree as well, we were travelling so fast as well at that stage in the race, that it did hurt. I can vouch for that. So yeah, no, I just hope that he's learned from those errors, and it will all go swimmingly on the day.
Of course, the biggest factor might be the different types of hurdles. Like, if there is anything, and none of us will ever know, but if there is anything in those white hurdles not quite being his cup of tea for whatever reason. I mean, I know this, people will just laugh at me now, but like, you don't know what Constitution Hill sees. Like, maybe the white just isn't his cup of tea for whatever reason in his vision. You just do not know. I know he's jumped them well in the past, but if that's his thing, going back to the old style hurdle might just be the difference.
Well, I think it's what the hurdle's made of rather than the colour, I'd say.
As in, he thinks he can just take a chance with the new ones?
Well, with the new ones, they're made of foam. Whereas old school hurdlers, they literally just clip the top bar, and you can hear them and feel them clipping the top bar. But over the new ones, there's no clipping the top bar. You're literally clipping the whole thing.
Right. Which is interesting, isn't it, Pat?
Nico, obviously the ground at Punchestown, they're doing obviously a good job. It's definitely not slow. Is that any concern, the ground?
No, I don't think so. I think he's fairly versatile ground-wise. And that would be the one concern about if you're going for an Ascot Gold Cup, is that it turns out good to firm, and he definitely wouldn't run on good to firm. Yeah. But you know as well as I do, they do a fantastic job at Punchestown. They've got so much track to use, and they're pretty much on a new course every single day. Whereas at Cheltenham, you're still riding on the old chewed up ground from the day before. It is phenomenal how big the track is. It's more like Longchamp, when you see the straight there, and it is vast.
Yeah. You know this thing about falling and then he'll learn from that. I do think that's bollocks. I just don't think there's any evidence. Like, it's like people who say, the horse knows where the winning post is, all this kind of stuff that we come out with in this sport.
Right.
But I kind of think, like...
You say that, Matt, but we had a chaser at the start of the year, and he actually fell on the schooling ground, and he was being too brave and just taking liberties, and from that point onwards he was brilliant. And now that is an example of a horse learning from a fall, knowing that they can't take off outside the wings and take liberties with the obstacle. They do learn, obviously.
Okay. Well,
thoroughbreds are an intelligent breed of horse. I'd say they're probably more intelligent than your native breeds or anything like that. They do learn incredibly quickly.
Okay, well, look, I'm not in a position to...
No, you're absolutely...
But then again, if I'd done my research, which obviously I haven't because I'm lazy, but if I'd done my research, I'm sure I could look up horses that have fallen and then done exactly the same next time. You know what I mean? I appreciate what Nico's saying, though, and maybe that kind of example is obviously you should learn the more you do something. Otherwise, you'd never school a horse ever. Otherwise, so
Yeah.
Obviously there is something in school.
But then horses, there are their own individuals, aren't they? We can get all technical about horses, and but I don't think the majority of listeners want to hear that.
Well, you say that, but I had a very interesting conversation after I'd watched a bit of Race for the Crown with my other half, she wanted me to explain why horses change legs and how a jockey makes a horse change legs. And it was very hard to explain in that, changing legs on a straight course almost seems pointless. Changing legs round the bend is easier to understand. But the moving the weight from one side to the other, like as a jockey, I'm asking both of you this, and either of you can answer. Paddy, maybe you can go. How do you make a horse change legs?
Do you know, I was never into that. I'd be interested in Nico's take. I think Harry Skelton, Ruby Walsh, two jockeys spring to mind. They were probably more into that. As a jockey, for me, it might sound boring, but I just jumped off in a race and I wanted to get to the end of it as fast as possible. Changing legs, to this day, I couldn't do it now.
But Nico, if your horse is getting a bit tired, there is a technique of move the weight over to the other side. So you change its legs to try and get a bit more out of it.
So the way I look at it, I was brought up in a very sort of, I did a lot of flat work and things like that. So I do not like to see horses going around a bend on the wrong leg. And it's just a pure balance thing. And then when you get off that bend, you then can switch them back and yeah.
So if you're going right-handed, the front right leg should be going forward first, correct?
Around the bend. Yeah.
Yeah. But then...
And then hopefully you can try and get them to switch and you might get a bit more. I mean, in America, it's huge, but over here, not so much. But
so hold on, that's interesting. So
you can overthink it as well. But I just feel that a horse is so much more balanced. If you're going around a place like Stratford, you don't want to be going around the bend at the top on the wrong leg. Because, I mean, all the weight is, you're essentially putting them off balance.
But I find this interesting because even you guys aren't absolutely sure there is a right or wrong way here. But what are you saying? Let's just take...
No. I'm sure there's a right or wrong way in that when you're going around a bend, you want to be on the correct leg. Okay,
so let's just take Ascot. You're coming round the home bend into the home straight. You'd come round leading on the front right leg, but when you came into the straight, you'd be happy to go over to the left leg to try and get a bit more out of the horse. Is that correct?
Well, by that stage, but then we've got jumps as well. Oh. So then if you're on that leg, you might land and they naturally switch onto their left.
How would you make a horse switch?
Well, you can do it. It's a lot easier to do it on a bend.
But how? What do you do?
Well, now we're getting technical.
I mean, is it that hard to explain? Like, is it just something really that only a rider knows?
For the layman, it starts to get technical. And if you watch in dressage, doing flying changes and things like that, and how to get a horse to do a flying change it's similar, but
what's
obviously
a flying change?
You have leg to use it with.
What's a flying change?
It's when you're on, let's say you're on the right leg, and then you get them to switch onto the left
in midair.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or even on a stride.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we've slightly got off tangent there, but I'm pleased I brought it up because there is lots in there that unless you're riding, like I'm a great believer that you can analyse races if you've never ridden, but for the technicalities, only riders can talk about that. And sometimes you don't need technicalities to analyse a race, but there is so much more going on that's never really talked about. And this podcast is about having a bit of fun, but also trying to learn something. And for me, I've just learned something. I know it's silly saying it because every sport, doesn't matter whether it's tiddlywinks, whether it's paddle, whether it's tennis, at the top level is incredible. Every sport. But this race riding Like, the difference between just sitting on a horse and actually riding in a race is extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Like, the skills you guys have, and I'm including even you in this pack. It is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like, it's way out, and I don't think it's appreciated. I genuinely don't think how much skill goes on, and the sacrifices and the non-eating. Hold on, eating. Can you eat?
Well, Paddy knows that I put on weight quite quickly, don't I?
Especially in the chin area.
I'm definitely... Well, no, it's because...
Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
Just how long? Well, obviously, we
He
won't
said
be.
that at the start, didn't he? Why don't you listen?
What did he say?
He said he's got to be in that for 6 weeks. He's going to the doctor next week. If you don't bloody listen,
So
no
no-
wonder he gets annoyed with you.
So we might say it's October, November. Nico. Nicky's first runners at Kempton.
Yeah, I'm not in the rush that, say, James Doyle is in. And James is probably going through what we've all been through numerous times, but hopefully he'll get back for the main meeting.
And Nico, obviously Nicky Henderson's a big racing yard. Can you explain what's wrong with his landline?
Oh, don't. So I have a few numbers for him. Why have you tried to call his landline?
Yeah, I've tried to call the office and been told it's not working. You have to ring his mobile. Well, I ain't going to ring his mobile.
Why not?
Well,
Because he's a busy man.
No, he's just not going to answer.
He's in Ireland.
I know. I want to speak to the office,
Why do you want to speak to the office?
making a comeback and taking your job.
I thought you were going to send us a horse with your syndicate.
I feel there was more to the landline story, though. Go on. Can we just finish that off, Nico?
Yeah, what's with the landline?
Yeah, what?
It's not working.
Oh, like, sometimes it doesn't work, yeah.
Closed down. Office
We're
is
definitely
closed.
not closed down.
Next season, obviously, we'll all hope that Constitution... Well, we don't hope. We know Constitution will win this week because he's the best hurdler in the world. But I kind of feel that if Sergino would be the one you'd love to see come back from whatever's ailing him, and he's the new machine on the block, isn't he?
I think, yeah, he is. I mean, that one race he had at Kempton, I mean, the form is sort of stacked up throughout the year, and yeah, I mean, he's a tremendous talent, and I'd love it for the Donnellys and, well, for the whole yard, really. You need horses like that coming through.
I mean, it's
Particularly when you see John Bon, not winning at the week on Saturday. You need these horses to come through.
And you know what? I know I'm a bit of a Django Bay groupie after Cheltenham, but I think he's been totally underestimated by everyone. Like, he's won an Arkle when clearly, to be honest, he probably shouldn't have been, even though I wanted him to. Even at Aintree, the trip was too short. Like, over 3 miles, he could be a real machine. Or could he? Is he a little bit quirky?
I don't think he's quirky. He is a very good, efficient jumper. But no, we'll certainly be stepping him up in trip next year. In hindsight, we ran him in the wrong race at Aintree because the 3 mile novice completely cut up, didn't it? And yeah,
He's
hindsight's
tough.
a wonderful thing.
A lucky place, I think, is going to be a superb novice chaser next season. I can't wait to see him going over fences.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that was our comments after the weekend, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nicolai, William, Chastel, de Boinville. This is it as far as Unbridled is concerned. Who knows, actually, because we don't, whether we will ever return. But if we don't...
I hope you do, because I think you've got loads more guests to come on. And hopefully it can be entertaining. And I think it's been a really good... shows a good depiction of the other side of racing, without all the technical, boring stuff.
Well, also, it's given you the most exciting 20 minutes you're going to have today.
I'm sure he'll have a much more happier time. At least, Nico, lovely weather. You can get out in the sun and do a bit of gardening and stuff. Get on your knees.
What, and get this all sweaty.
Oh, and also the tan line of that. Like
Cobden had it on for, I don't know, 3 or 4 summers ago. Maybe 5
just,
summers.
hold on, he's telling a story.
What?
Just let him
Sorry.
finish. Yeah, say that again. Cobden, what?
Cobden had the same thing on about 5 summers ago, and he said by the end it was having a dead dog wrapped around your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Nico, could you not ride Constitution Hill Friday? Like, come on.
Yeah, look, the stuff I'm on, I feel like I could.
Thank you, Nico, for everything you brought to this show. Genuinely, Paddy's hatred for you has been fantastic as well, and
I've loved that side of it as well.
I do.
I love it.
It's important. Yeah. It's important. The jealousy from Patrick is extraordinary. But also the secret texting behind the scenes, trying to make up for it. And Nico,
you know, he doesn't like being called Pat.
Pat.
Uh-huh.
Do you not like being called Pat?
No.
Oh.
Who told you that?
Huh? Do you not remember when a certain clerk of the scale called you Pat?
I went
and you went mad.
Chapstel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I went ballistic, yeah.
Would you have sworn?
Oh, yeah, I'd be, yeah.
He caught you at the wrong moment. All right, Pat.
Went mental.
Nico, thank you. And that's it really from us. It's over and out. Hopefully we will meet again on the Unbridled set. But whatever happens, I've got Nico on my chest for the rest of the day. So thank you, and I hope the recovery goes well and quickly, and the fam will look after you, and we'll see you on a racetrack very soon.
Great. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love being involved. So hopefully you get re-signed for next year. I'm sure you will.
Lovely to speak to Nico. He's such a good lad. Such a good jockey as well. Constitution Hill is in. Just coming through in my ear. 1 of 6. He's an absolute certainty, isn't he? State man, Golden Ace. He's just different class to that lot. Totally. He's the best hurdler there's ever been.
Oh, he's not.
Huh?
How is he?
Did you not see his Supreme and Champion hurdle wins?
How many champion hurdles has he won?
It doesn't matter. It's not numbers.
I said how many has he won?
It's not numbers. It's
Right,
not a numbers game.
How many has he won?
When's it been a numbers game?
Can you answer the question?
He's won 1.
Thanks.
Did you see how he did it, though? Like that day, actually, in the Supreme, probably, that was hurdling perfection. Perfection.
Look, he'd probably win at Punchestown. I'll give you your side this time, but not the horse he was. And he got
not the horse he was. What evidence have you got for that?
enough evidence. What evidence do you need?
So when you were a jockey, if a horse failed, you just come and say, this horse is now crap?
Never seen the likes of him in the Supreme and the Champion Hurdle this year. Anywhere. You're just far up these people's hole that we got to look and listen to all this crap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the questions that we had earlier? Dan Skelton this, Dan Skelton that. Don't give me up people's backsides.
Leave Dan
no one
Skelton
up a backside more than you.
Leave him out of it.
Please, Dan, please take one of my racing
Leave
club
him out of
horses.
it.
Please train for me.
Yeah.
No, Paddy, not unless you send me something that's half decent. Oh, please, Daniel, I'll come in and ride out for free. All right. Should we do some questions from the viewers?
Go on.
Shall we? Yes or no?
Yes.
We're meant to be, like, for the people. Like one of those places they can get involved. Right, Terry, who's a regular messenger. I know he hasn't always been that well, Terry, and we wish you all the best,
Get
Terry.
well, Terry.
Always like your support. He says, no questions. He said, I just want to congratulate both of you on a great podcast. Keep it going and keeping me going with my constant battle. Terry, that's lovely. I met some lads I was meant to say this last week, I forgot, at Musselburgh. And they were like, I would guess 17, 18, like quite young lads. And they said, there were 5 of them, I think, in a group just having a day out. And they said that every Thursday morning, like the first thing they do is Unbridled podcast. They absolutely loved it. And it really touched me because you wonder what age groups are listening, like what kind of people are listening. And to have some teenagers who are waiting for Thursday morning for the Unbridled podcast really, really did touch me.
I do think it's opened up to any age, this show.
Hope so.
Which is brilliant, lads and every age seems to be enjoying it. So look, good. I'm sure sometimes we talk a bit of waffle here, but
you're only not going to enjoy it if you don't enjoy a former jockey greasing up to a trainer. If you don't enjoy that, you're not going to enjoy this because you and Skelton all the time. But if you can overcome that, I think you would enjoy it. Also, as long as you don't mind someone who doesn't fulfil their bets. Jordan, what's your connections do now with El Fabiolo? He's just yesterday's horse, isn't he?
Fell Punchestown.
Yeah,
again,
another horrible fall. I mean, even if you went back hurdling, he's not really a hurdler because he's big and gangly. He's just accident prone, isn't he?
He's not easy, but like he took falling the last twice now. As a jockey, I'm not sure he'd be really looking forward to going out and riding him, but hopefully he'll put it together soon.
Adam says, if you both had a free £50 bet for the King George, had to use it today, who would you back?
Not John Bon.
No, genuinely, I think Gaelic Warrior. If he's there on the day, he's 6-1-ish now.
Do you think he's ground dependent?
Not really, no.
No.
I don't think he's anything dependent. Like, he's got the speed and stamina.
He's definitely back.
He's back. Seems a simple horse to ride, and it's the right way. The thing is with him, most of his big races have been the wrong way. Like, people forget this was an out-and-out right-handed horse, but then he won the Arcor, and everyone kind of said, oh, yeah, you can cope with left-handed. But he's just a different horse right-handed.
I do think Django Bay is an interesting horse for that as well. Hell of a race. Look forward to some good horse for next season. So,
Racing Tees, who I've got to say supplies this, and you can go to their website and get one of these right now. Nick, I need to go in. Oh, where's the camera? There we go. Oh, it's quite hard to do. That's my impression of Nico. Racing Tees say Il était temps, a live champion chase candidate. It's got to be, hasn't he, after Sandown?
yeah.
Or do you think Sergino would just whip his ass?
Yeah, like I think of Sergino as the one if they are, but don't rule out Marie National, champion chase winner, and he won again at Punchestown. And every time he wins, or every time I see that name, we still remember Michael O'Sullivan. So yeah, Marie National would not be out. Marie National, isn't it?
Who? Say that one more time.
You say it.
Marine Nationale. Do you want to have a go?
No.
Okay. Declan Hogan says he wants more bad rides called out. Do you think the weighing room would go crazy if more people who haven't ridden called out bad rides, or do you think they would cope with it?
No, I think they would cope on it, but everyone's going to have a bad ride, Matt. You know what I mean? It's normal that you can't get the position and you got to make a decision. Sometimes a horse will go 20 lengths clear and you cannot go after it. It's things like that. You're happy to be called out. But when you get idiots calling out a ride that don't know anything about racing, there's no room for that.
You know what I would love, and I mean this, if there are jockeys watching this, I would love us to get to this place that someone who hasn't ridden, let's just say me, for instance, says that was a bad ride. I didn't like where he was positioned. Yeah. And then that jockey goes to the presenter on course and says, okay, I'm not disagreeing, and Matt's perfectly entitled to his opinion, but I'd like to say why I did this, and this.
Yeah.
If you could get to that position, like there'd be respect from the presenter for the guy or girl coming and giving their side of the story.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'd be respect from the jockeys for the fact that there is someone who's happy to say their mind. And you might actually then convince the presenter they're wrong, or you might convince the jockey they're wrong. But for me, that would make the sport a lot more interesting for viewers. Paula Sainthouse. Oh, if you had a surname Sainthouse, it'd be very hard ever to do anything wrong, wouldn't it? I got absolutely hammered, but I'm Sainthouse. Doesn't quite. Anyway, I'm sure Paula's not, because she looks like she rides horses. And she'd be doing that without alcohol. Can we have a horse to follow from next season from each of you, please? You're going to say the new one, and I'm going to see Sergino. I mean, it's a bit boring, though, isn't it? Like, she's going to say, yeah, well, must have taken you 2 seconds to pick those two, and it did.
All right, King of Magic, my syndicate horse, will follow him.
Really?
I like him, yeah.
You know, what was the Clondor horse of Bailey's? The Clondor something or other. He was my horse to follow at the start of this season.
Didn't hear much about him, did we?
No, but I think he's going to go chase.
Is that not something Bury? Kemble Bury.
The Kemble Bury, that's it.
Mm.
The Kemble Brewery, when he goes over fences next season, I still think he could be good.
Yeah.
Bailey started with an absolute bang.
I know.
All faded a little out. Chianti Classico incident. There was a lovely bit on Instagram the other day of him running around a field, so there is hope that he will come back. Sam says, when a jockey picks up a ban, how do they come up with the days they are banned? Why does the ban not start on the 2-day deck stage? So if a jockey gets suspended on Wednesday, it would kick in on Saturday.
It's 14 days from the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just to give people a bit more time to get organised, as far as I'm aware.
And time for an appeal.
Time for appeal is a good point. And the length of ban, well, all the stewards have categories of you can, if interference, you can go from 2 days to 10 days or whatever. So it's all in a book, basically. I kind of wish it was all a bit more common sense, but I do understand there have to be certain rules. Hold on. Royal Rumble, but for racehorse trainers. Obviously, we had the big fight the other day between Ben and Eubank. I stayed up for that. Did you watch it?
Great fight.
Did you watch it?
Watched every
I
round.
watched
every second.
I really enjoyed it.
I honestly thought one was going to go down at one stage. Brilliant to watch that.
Yeah.
And I'm not big into watching stuff like that, but I was such a build-up. Like me and you. Imagine that. Oh, I'd love it. I'd kill you. I would, honestly. I'd beat you up so easily.
You'd be like Ben trying to come up to my weight.
I would.
You'd have to be eating a lot to get to my
you
weight.
can stay whatever weight you want.
I'd be like,
I'd absolutely,
super heavyweight.
I'd
Is it
absolutely
super heavyweight?
destroy you. Put you straight down.
What?
Straight down. I would honestly kill you.
I actually don't think you would. I think you'd be terrified.
I will. I'm calling you out.
Because honestly,
and they want.
I'd be like a psychopath coming at you.
They want big money. All these lads. I don't want that.
I would run at you and go, yeah, smash.
Bang.
5 Irish, 5 British. Which two are left in the ring at the end, and who wins?
Of who?
So you got a fighter from Britain. Well, I on the basis this is a heavyweight, I'm having Paul Nicholls as in my side.
That's what, for a fight?
Yeah, you've got to have an Irish trainer against Paul Nicholls. What about Shark Hanlon against Nicholls?
No,
big
waste
slash
time.
up.
Nah.
Be a good fight then.
No. Who would I have out of the Irish? Say Gavin Cronwall hit a fair slap now.
Do you think?
Hard,
strong. Man. I still think Nicholls one blow though. One. If he landed one Nicholls with the weight behind him,
I wouldn't want to slap off Fergal O'Brien either.
I bet you've had one.
When it came close.
Yeah. But he's more just psycho rather than strength.
No, he's strong.
Okay.
There's a lot of wimps out there.
Tom wanted a lucky 15. We got to pick out 4.
Yeah, for Chelsea.
Doesn't matter what prices as long as they win. New one, Champion Hurdle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's beat.
Marie Nationale Champion Chase.
Who?
Marie Nationale.
Okay.
Ballyburn World Hurl.
Jesus. Okay.
And
Sergino.
We can't.
Sergino Champion Chase.
Just imagine he can't run in the Arca.
No, because he's won.
I know.
Yeah.
But maybe there should be a rule that he should.
Josh says, when will we be back? It's a long time to wait for the best podcast in the business. It's a long. It is. We don't know, Josh. We don't know. We're in discussions. Our people are talking to their people, and their people are talking to our people. It may come to something. It may
stressful
not.
stuff.
It is stressful.
Need
stuff.
sponsors and stuff.
Rich says, I'm going to miss the podcast. Jamie says, would you consider a flat podcast? No. Has Paddy paid for dinner yet? Says Andrew Tomlinson. Fat chance, isn't there? Let's have a look at this. Great podcast, says Luke. Loved every episode. Hopefully you'll be back. What's the one horse you can't wait to see next season? Well, we said that. The new one for Paddy. Max says, does Paddy think jockeys should be called out more? Yeah, we've had that one already. Is Lossiemouth the best athlete of all time?
We do love you, Lossie, but probably not. No.
I think that will just about do us. I feel like a bit of a Frank. Do you like Frank Sinatra?
Heard of him. We wouldn't know too much about him now.
Yeah, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain.
Well, Matt, if he sounds anything like you, I never want to hear him.
Yeah. Thanks, Paddy. Thank you to you for watching. If it is the end of Unbridled, it's been fun, but both of us know that we did it our way.